good? What's good? We are back.
Hello.
With more shameless plugs and self-promotion because the internet allows us to do so.
Yeah.
Like crack dealers in the 80s, we're just working with what we're given.
Yeah.
So, don't blame us, blame the dude that invented the internet.
Yeah. Let's get that algorithm some credit too. Let's get that algorithm on our side.
Yes, indeed. This is the Black Streak Entertainment Podcast, where black culture and anime collide. I am Terry L. Ramey.
And I am Justin Ramey.
And, today we're gonna pick back up,
So, we're gonna talk about some things, but first I got a question for you, Terry.
What's that?
What if, the great Tyler Perry,
Oh.
what if he made an anime production?
He kind of did.
When?
He made, I didn't know this existed until, recently. Me and Asia saw it, my wife. It came up, on some streaming service. It was Medea, the animated movie.
It was animated, yes, but it wasn't anime. It was animated. It was animated pretty well. It was actually.
I didn't watch it.
It was actually a good animation. It had really good animation for Tyler Perry. But I'm talking about anime. Now, anime's cheap. Anime's cheap to produce.
Yeah.
So you'd think that he would do a good job in I'm not talking about hiring a studio to do it, a professional anime studio to do it. I'm talking about him in his own studio trying to do it himself.
Himself?
Yeah.
Ooh, man.
Like hiring internet animators to do it.
I don't even know if he can draw.
No, not like doing it himself, but writing it himself.
Writing it himself,
and just hiring the people who the internet animators who don't know their worth.
You remember the anime? I think it was from the 90s that somebody snuck into our Sailor Moon tapes that we bought called Marmalade
Boy. Yeah,
I imagine it'd be something like that.
Oh,
except with hood stuff,
with black people and the blackest baldest man would be the villain.
Yeah, it'd be something like that.
I mean, I'd watch it. I'd hate watch it, but
I'd watch it too.
So Tyler Perry, if you're listening,
do an anime.
I'll watch it. You'll have one viewer here.
Two.
Yeah, you have two
at least.
Oh, and speaking of anime, which is what we talk about, we went to Japan a couple of years, and not for a couple of years, but we went a couple of times. We went a couple of times, and the first time we went to Tokyo's Akihabara, and there was this building we went into, and I don't know if all the electronic buildings are like this. It was like I don't know if it was Soft Map or if it was some other random store, but it was electronic. It was like a game entertainment store. Like they sold games and videos and stuff like that, and it's like a tower. So you go up. You can go up the tower,
but you can't come down.
But you can't come down, and we didn't know how.
Yeah,
we weren't Japanese enough to know where the stairs were. So we were stuck on this floor, and we were trying to get back out. We were trying to get out of the store. So we saw this line of Japanese men. Just imagine, if you guys remember January 6th, just imagine those just imagine those stupid oath keepers going holding each other and going and weaving in through a crowd and going out. They were on a mission. They were going somewhere. Yeah, so maybe they were exiting. So we're like, let's follow them. So we followed them. We ended up outside the building, but we were on the stairwell. We were on the fire escape. We were on the fire escape. We're like, what?
And the dudes disappeared.
Yeah, they disappeared. We don't
know where they went.
We don't know where they went. They went to they got. Speaking of isekai, they isekai'd out. They went to another world. But anyway, so then we decided, okay, let's go. I don't know why we went up. I think we went up.
Yeah, we went up. I don't think there was a. Could we go down?
I don't know. I don't think we could go down normally. Maybe I think
our logic was maybe they went up, and there's a way.
Yeah. That was our logic. Yeah, that was a logic that they went up to go down. So we're on the fire escape. We go up the building, and then I open the door and I just see a guy taking pictures, and I don't know what he's taking pictures of, but he was taking pictures like he was like it was like a photo studio, and I was like, I'm sure there's something nasty, because the way these buildings are, if you ever been to Akihabara, like for some reason in Tokyo, their pornography is like intermingled with everything else. But like the higher you go in these buildings, the more adult it gets. So like he was taking a picture of something, and I didn't want to know. So I opened it, I looked at him, and I just closed it. I just closed the door, like, we're not going there. We're not going in there. So we didn't go in there, and then we went. So we were still in the fire escape, but we just went down, and we went down to the the ground floor, and then we go into that door, and that was the back room of the place. That was the stock room of the building. We just went to the stock room, and
there was this dude back there. He said something to us in Japanese, which I'm assuming was along the lines of, "What are y'all doing in here?"
Yeah, just two
giant black dudes.
2 giant black dudes in the back room of an anime store. And we just looked at it. We just passed them by to get out, because we saw the light. We saw the light to get out, and we just passed them by and left. And I'm sure that guy
was so confused.
Yeah, I'm sure that man remembered that for the rest of his days, because that is just awkward. It's like I said, speaking of isekai, he probably thought that we just teleported there, because how we ended up back all the way in the back room. He was probably wondering, like, what's going on? So weird.
Yes, sir. We don't know either, sir. We don't know how we ended up here.
Okay, so that was that. I love that story. That's a true story that happened, and that's how it happened. So we're going to continue after this break with more anime stuff.
Listeners, Black Streak Entertainment is developing Alien Up for Nintendo Switch and PC.
And we're launching our Indiegogo campaign to fund the game on March 4th, 2024.
Perks include having your name published in the game credits, getting your Alien Up fan art included in the game, and we're even offering a perk where we'll make you into a background character.
Register now to reserve your spot and get 50% off your launch day perk.
Go to blackstreakanime.com/perk and sign up to get started. Let's fund Alien Up.
Play the Alien Up pre-alpha demo on Steam.
And we're back with the Black Streak Entertainment podcast. Studio Ghibli is releasing a new movie at this point in time.
By the time you see it, it probably has already been released.
Yeah. Is it called The Boy and the Heron?
Yeah. By the time you hear this, I mean, it has already been released.
Yeah, we know what you meant. I don't know much about it. The trailer, the animation looked amazing.
Yep.
As usual.
Because it was like, his last movie was that one airplane movie, or the one about the airplane, which we have, but I never watched.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was more like a history type biography movie about a dude who created a warplane that, probably shot down some American fighter pilots. But I'm not going to hold that against him.
Nah, we have Oppenheimer now, so
it was probably an airplane that was used, in the ally ship with the Nazis that the Japanese had. But we're not going to hold that against Mr. Miyazaki.
No. And that was going to be his last.
It was a good movie.
That was going to be his last movie, but then his son took over, and you know how that goes. His son cannot make a good movie.
Oh, he took over Ghibli? Is that what happened?
No, he was the main guy. He was like Miyazaki was done. After that.
So he came out of retirement.
Yeah.
I thought he just never went away.
No.
Like he did for the last 5 movies when he said he was going to retire after Mononoke and never did.
Well, he probably never officially retired, but he's like, okay, this is my last one. And he just sat there and watched and waited until his son did something, and then he saw what his son did. He's like, I gotta come back in. Because his son always messes up. If you ever see a Studio Ghibli movie and you're like, what is this? This is not good. And then you look at the credits, you see that his son made it, and you're like, oh, that's why. Like the Earwig and the Witch, or whatever that was called.
The computer one.
Yeah, it was a CGI movie, and people were like, what? And then when you watch it, you're like, what? The movie starts when it ends. It's like, okay, now we're starting the movie, and then it just ends. It's like, okay, that was dumb. It wasn't good. There was a movie the cover was like had a dragon on it, and that was the first Studio Ghibli movie that I hated. And I was like, and then years later, I figured out that his son made it. I'm like, oh, that's why. I forgot what it was even called, but yeah, Studio Ghibli is like, for me, it's like the Disney of Japan. For me,
it is. That's what it is.
Because it has such good quality. It's like has the highest quality in movie production.
I don't even know if I even consider it anime.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
It's its own thing. It's like world class standalone.
Yeah, it's its own thing. As they come out with great stories like My Neighbor Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service, which is like those two movies are like in my top 10 favorite films.
Mononoke.
Yeah, there's Mononoke.
It's phenomenal. Like, I remember watching it when it came out, and I thought it was cool. But then watching it as an adult, I'm like, man, this is like a Hollywood production, like a live action movie. The storytelling.
Yeah,
I could see that being made into a live action movie and being incredible.
And animation is not easy.
No, and that movie was definitely ahead of its time. I forgot it came out in the '90s. Watching it.
Yeah. So that studio definitely deserves all the praise it gets. But like we were saying in the last episode last week, they do a lot of Japanese centric stories. But the other half of it is just European centric stories.
I mean, Ghibli, that in itself is European. Like Ghibli is a car out of Italy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
I think it's his favorite car.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there's there's Porco Rosso, there's Kiki's Delivery Service, Arrietty,
Castle in the Sky,
Castle in the Sky,
like fantasy European setting.
So
Industrial Revolution.
So them doing an Afrocentric story would probably be impossible.
No,
and that's the thing. It's like Japan loves to do white stories, but they don't like to do black stories for whatever reason. But that's where I hold it against them with the white stories that they do. Yeah. They could do Japanese stories all day. I don't care, even if they look white. I don't care but as long as it's in Japan, and they're doing Japanese stories. Okay, fine, they're Japanese. That makes sense. But when they do white stuff, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I mean, that's a whole deeper conversation. I think it goes into the lie that people are fed that whiteness is the pinnacle of everything.
Yeah,
that is greater than even their own culture.
Yeah, it's because of the Hollywood machine, I think.
Yeah,
they're exposed to more Hollywood movies that are just white people.
It's just white supremacy stuff.
Yeah.
And look, before anybody gets angry, white supremacy is not just burning crosses in people's yards and lynching black folks. No, you can be a white supremacist and pushing an image that whiteness is the pinnacle of beauty. Yeah. That's a white supremacist ideal. Yeah. It has nothing to do with violence. It has nothing to do with brutality, but it's a white supremacist ideal. White is better than everything else. Yeah. And I think the Japanese fall into that trap. You see it with their animation. I mean, most of their characters look white. Yeah. I guarantee you, there are no Japanese people running around with blonde hair and blue eyes. Not naturally. Yeah. I guarantee you.
Guarantee you. It's more likely that a black person would have that.
Yeah, it's more likely you see a black one. Michael Ealy. It's more likely to see a black person with blue eyes than a Japanese person. That ain't happening.
Yeah. But like the Studio Ghibli movies, they've been going strong for years. And I remember when I was a kid, I first saw My Neighbor Totoro. I didn't know the Studio Ghibli movie. I was too young to understand studios and all that. But I knew that I really liked it. And I think my parents still had the VHS that came out on.
Yeah, that's the good version.
Yeah, the 20th century
Disney version,
20th century Fox one. And then Disney took over Studio Ghibli. Like they bought the rights for the United States. Then they just redubbed everything, and they did a really bad job with the My Neighbor Totoro one.
They did.
I think
they had like two phenomenal. It was who did the voices of Mei and Satsuki? It was Dakota Fanning and her sister.
Yeah.
And it was just badly done.
Yeah, it was badly done. It's like they wasted money on celebrity
actresses.
Yeah, they wasted money on celebrity to do non-voice actor. Like they're not voice actors; they're actors. So they wanted to they spent more money on actors than they did voice actors that did a better job.
Yeah,
and then like after, I don't know if their rights expired or what, but
yeah, I think they did.
But I'm glad it did because I think 4Kids do Studio Ghibli stuff now, like publishing in the United States, and they're
owned by Warner Brothers, isn't it?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, okay.
That's why everything's on HBO or Max now.
Oh, okay.
So Warner Brothers, I think, owns Ghibli. I think they outright own it now because after he finished that last movie that just came out, Miyazaki, he actually sold it off. Studio Ghibli.
Oh, okay.
Warner Brothers owns the whole studio now.
I see. Oh, okay.
So he's retired for real, which means he's probably, I hate to say it, he's probably on the verge of dying.
Probably.
He's in his 80s. So, you know, he's given up the very thing he worked his whole life doing. Probably because he's not in the best of health.
Yeah.
And he wants to relax.
Animation, especially at that caliber, takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that studio has a great library. I think that if you want to get someone into anime, you could ease them into that because it's universally easy to digest because the storytelling is so good.
Yeah.
And it's not like overly comedic and overly anime, I should say. But yeah, that. Studio Ghibli is fantastic. We went to the Studio Ghibli Museum in Japan one time, and that was really cool. They also like if anybody ever seen like that Nadia in the Secret of Blue Water, I believe the first episode was co-made with someone from Studio Ghibli. I don't know if it's Miyazaki or what, but it had a really big Miyazaki vibe. And I looked it up, the first episode of that. I looked it up, and I was like, and it said that, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It was very Studio Ghibli like.
Okay. Yeah, I love Studio Ghibli.
So like I said, My Neighbor Totoro is for some reason it's like nothing happens in the movie, but I loved it, and and that's my number one Studio Ghibli movie. Then it's Kiki's Delivery Service, and then. Probably Mononoke third, and then
I would have to say Mononoke my first, and then Castle in the Sky would be my second, and man, it's a toss up between Kiki Totoro and Spirited Away.
Oh right, Spirited Away. There's so many good ones, but I know my number one, number two, like I just said, those are definitely up there. But the rest of them can just all be number three. Like The Cat Returns was really good. That wasn't a Miyazaki film, but it was a Studio Ghibli film, and I really like The Cat Returns. That's a fantastic film. But yeah, so if you guys want to get into more anime and you guys don't know Studio Ghibli for whatever reason, they play in theaters around the United States all the time.
All the movies are on Max.
Yeah, a lot of movies are on Max.
HBO Max.
So check it out. All right, we're gonna take a little break, and before that,
make sure y'all visit blackstreakentertainment.com/join to gain exclusive access to Black Streak anime, manga, games, and more. It's a good time. All right. Bros are back.
We're back. We're back with more Black Streak Entertainment news.
Yes, yes.
So first of all, when I was in high school, I got into manga making. And my first manga was Fiji Random. And then it developed into being the first manga of Black Streak Entertainment. Now, Fiji Random is a comedy, slice of life, mix up of random things about a gamer girl and the random world she lives in. Now, the unique thing about Fiji Random is, if you're familiar with the 4-koma format, like in Azumanga Daioh or other gag manga, I think K-On! Had a 4-koma format where there's 4 panels and they're like vertical on top of each other, and they tell a joke at the end. That's part of Feature Random. But there's a main narrative that goes on, and those 4 komas are in the middle of the narratives. But those 4 comics, they are just random events that happen in Fiji's life and the world around her. So it's not canonical with the main story. The main story is just regular manga format. It's not in 4 panels. It's just regular manga if you think of regular manga. So that's the unique thing about Fiji Random. Now, I was making that in high school, so that was back in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And before then, we didn't have, computer software that could make manga really well.
Nope.
They didn't even have like good drawing instruments for that, and I couldn't even afford it because I was in high school. So what I did was I actually got manga paper, real manga paper that they used to draw manga on, and real manga equipment like pens, ink, and screen tones and all that. And I made that, and I made the first volume using that. So I hustled to get that done. It doesn't look good. It looks awful because I was learning as I go. So like the first part of the manga looked bad, and then the end of it looked okay. So it was, you could actually see the progression of it, because I didn't make the manga in a day. It took me like till college to finish it. So it's fantastic. It's very, very funny. And hopefully I could re-release it with the support of people like you who wants to read it. But if you do want to read it, I do have it released on our Patreon.
Yeah. We're gonna put on the Black Streak Entertainment Patreon some of the comic strips. We'll do another edition of it, a reprint edition. I'm sure y'all can find them floating around on the internet, maybe on Amazon or somewhere. Past edition, but we'll do a reprint one day.
Yeah, and we did do physical releases of it. We sold out of all of them. Now there's Fiji Random Volume 1. There's the Garage Made Special, which is a special separate comic. That's a separate side story, and it's fully colored. We sold out of those too. So if you want to learn more about Fiji Random, just go to the Patreon and request more. The thing about Fiji Random is the main character is half black girl, and the main dude is a black guy, but the rest of the cast are either they're lighter skinned. I'm gonna change that later, but that, like I told you before, back in the day, I was doing this with no computer stuff. I was doing this all by hand, and if you understand what screen tones are like the gray part of manga, the gray and dark gray parts, like the dots. It's actually a sticker sheet they have to cut out with a knife and put onto the paper.
A lot of work.
That's a lot of work, and I was doing it by myself. And the great manga out there, people who still do it naturally, or people who did it naturally back in the day, they had teams to do that stuff. I was doing it by myself, so to make every character dark skinned would be a nightmare, and I had to pay for the screen tones.
It'd probably be expensive too.
Yes, I had to pay for the screen tones. So that skin screen tone was the most used. The skin that I used for Fiji and Saw, the two darker skinned characters in the story, that was used the most. I went through a lot of sheets of that. So if every character was that color, then that'd be a nightmare. And that's why I don't blame Japanese people for not having darker skinned characters in their stories a lot, because that would take too much work to skin to do all their skin. You just keep it blank and keep it white if they're lighter skinned. So, but nowadays, you got computers. You just press the fill button, and you'll fill it in. But yeah, if anybody has a question of why are there so many light-skinned characters in the story, it's like that's why. It was just because of the screen tone issue, without doing it physically.
Right. Yeah, Fiji Random's great. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Slice of life, high school comedy.
Yeah, that the whole thing, the whole concept was inspired by Quentin Tarantino movies and Azumanga and Sergeant Frog. So if you like those things, check it out.
Yeah, look it up. And it's you gotta search for it because we don't have the comic printing right now, but the manga printing right now. But we'll bring it back one day.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back after a short break, and we'll talk about our topic for this week. The Black Streak Entertainment Podcast is going live.
That's right. We'll be holding our first live stream event on Friday, January the 29th, where you will have VIP access to me and Justin.
We'll be chatting directly with you. We're telling jokes, taking your questions, playing video links you share with us, and playing games for Black Streak prizes.
If you've ever wanted to kick it with us, now's your chance. Tickets are on sale now at blackstreakentertainment.com/event. Or you can gain free access to this and all future live stream events for 2 whole years when you join our members-only community at blackstreakentertainment.com/plans.
In addition to accessing our live streams for free, membership perks include access to our private forums, access to bonus members-only podcast episodes, access to live stream anime watch-alongs with me and Terry, and so much more.
Get your tickets now at blackstreakentertainment.com/event or gain free access to this and all future live stream events for 2 years when you join our members-only community at blackstreakentertainment.com/plans.
See you there.
All right, we are back.
We are back.
The Black Streak Entertainment Podcast.
Now, Terry, imagine this. You're just a kid, probably in high school. You go to the arcade. You look around. Oh, look, Time Crisis. Oh, House of the Dead 2. Cool. And then you hear boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, dollar. You hear boom, boom, dollar. And you're like, oh, man, I know what that is. And you turn around and you see some guy with happy feet on the arcade known as DDR. Dance Dance Revolution.
Yep.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
And then DDR, after, a few years, it stopped being a Japanese thing where you can only import it at your home. And they come out with it on the PlayStation. PlayStation 1, I think, was PS1 Japanese only.
Yeah.
And you had to rig your system.
Yeah, you had to get the thing to rig your system. What was it called? A converter.
Yeah, converter to stop the spring or whatever. But yeah, and then you bought a pad and then you could play DDR at home. Now, people who don't know what Dance Dance Revolution is, it's a rhythm game where there's arrows on the screen and you have a controller at your feet and you have to move your feet on the controller when you're prompted to. And it was very fun.
It was fun.
And for some reason, Konami, the game system, the game, company, they just stopped. Mm-hmm. They don't make DDR anymore.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah. What was the last DDR game you heard of?
I come to think of it. No, I haven't heard of it.
I don't even know if they made it on PS3. I think they stopped doing it after the Wii came out.
Yeah. Come to think of it, yeah.
And I don't know why. Maybe the easiest Arkham Razor solution is that rights got ridiculous, rights to music, because the music was mostly European stuff,
Euro pop dance stuff,
and
Captain Jack.
And maybe it's harder nowadays to get some kind of rhythm game like that going. But the replacement of that was the the Rock Band and Guitar Hero fad.
Yeah.
That replaced DDR, but before that, DDR was the game that high schoolers played all the time.
Yeah.
That was a very fun game. If I played it today, I probably wouldn't last one song. I don't think my feet could move that fast.
That's why there were no fat nerds when we were going to high school.
Yeah.
They all played DDR.
It had great music.
Sweating and stinking.
It had great stupid music. You pick your character and they never danced the music very well. They just went through the motions. My favorite DDR game was DDR Max 2 for the PlayStation 2. They had the best music in there, in my opinion. And for some reason, the controller pads that you buy, they would always get torn up because they were made not to...
They're made of vinyl.
Yeah, they're made of vinyl, and they were stitched poorly on the edge, and you had to tape it to the floor so you won't slip and slide and break your neck.
And you had to play it with your socks on.
Yeah, you had to play it with your socks on, and it didn't translate very well at home. Maybe that's why they stopped, but they could have made a better controller. This is nowadays, but even as an adult now, I can't imagine doing that in my home. I'd probably cause an earthquake.
Yeah. I remember that. You'd have a fat kid playing, you'd be boom, 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 boom. Then you had the two arrows come up, or you had to jump. Boom!
Yeah, there's two arrows on the side, you have to jump.
You're too big to be playing this, man.
If anybody remembers DDR, I have such good memories of that game. That was a great party game. It was a great game. I'm sure there's some arcades that have them, but I haven't seen, since arcades are dying, I haven't seen any DDR or Pump It Up arcades lately. Maybe if you go to convention, like an anime convention, they'll definitely have them. But I think maybe because they have the maintenance on that will probably be a nightmare.
Yeah, probably.
Because, like I said, Konami doesn't support that anymore. So if you get a broken part or a part that's faulty, you're probably going to spend a lot of money to pay someone else to get it from another machine. So yeah, those are the days. DDR. Now they have they had it for years. Community of DDR enthusiasts have created their own DDR kind of game called Beat Mania. I think it's called Beat Mania. And
that's what that is? I thought it was like an actual game, Beat Mania. That's a fan game?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And because people make their I could be wrong, but people make their own stages. So they have their own they have their own music video in the background. They make their own patterns, and then you can play it just like DDR, but it's from your computer.
Oh,
and it's free to play because it's community based. People upload their own songs. Or not their own songs, but songs that exist, and they just make their own patterns for it.
I didn't know that. 'Cause I've heard of Beat Mania, but I didn't know it was like a
Oh, never mind. I was wrong. Beat Mania was the DJ simulator rhythm game.
Oh, okay.
That game was good, but it arrived in the United States way too late, and they only came out with one in the United States for whatever reason. They made so many Beat Mania games in the PS1 era. There's just so many, but they only came out with one on PS2 in the United States. I don't know what that game it was called that I was talking about, that DDR community-based game, but there is one out there. If someone knows, let me know. But it was very fun because it was just any game, and people and it kind of evolved into another version, which is like Guitar Hero, but you could but they put their own songs in it, like K-pop songs and whatever. So yeah, the community are keeping these rhythm games alive, but for some reason Konami doesn't want to do it. They don't want to keep anything alive.
Konami doesn't want to do anything.
No, they just want to make pachinko slot machines.
They do have Silent Hill 2 coming out remake.
Yeah, and
Metal Gear Solid remake.
That's not going to be great.
Why not?
Because the Silent Hill game is going to be outsourced. So it's going to be made by a company that made this game called Medium, and I have that game. It's not good.
Oh,
so they're just
come on.
And they already started. I forgot what it was called, but it was Silent Hill something. It was Ascension maybe. It's like a quarry game. It's like a story based game where you make choices.
Oh, okay.
But it's streamed, and everybody who's in the stream makes the choice, and it's episodic. So every episode's going to be different, or continue on with what people made that choice that week. But your choices are stronger if you pay.
What?
And it's not interesting and it's not good and people are complaining about it. Like
stupid.
This is dumb.
Just give me a regular game.
Yeah, they don't know what they're doing. I don't know what clown or what monkey they have at the typewriter of Konami at the main desk, but they make bad decisions all the time.
Well, that's why Hideo Kojima left.
Yeah. So and they recently came out with a collection of Metal Gear Solid games again, and it wasn't well received. It was bad. And I'm like, how could they mess that up? They already
mess up a collection.
They already
of games.
did that like multiple times. How they mess it up? But yeah, Konami's weird.
Remember when they were gonna make that? When Kojima was gonna do that Silent Hill game?
Yeah,
and they messed that up.
PT.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they messed something up somewhere.
Hideo Kojima doing a Silent Hill game. That would have been insane.
Then, so
that would have been one of the best games ever made.
And then for some reason they didn't do it. I'm like, okay, they're so weird. They are so
Kojima
weird.
Left.
They make the wrong decisions all the time. Well, anyway, DDR, remember that? Yes, it was great. Hopefully it comes back. It'll get more kids sweating again. Yep. So, thanks for joining us on another episode of the Black Street Entertainment Podcast.
Make sure y'all visit our website, blackstreakentertainment.com/join to gain exclusive access to Blackstreet anime, manga, games, and more. Join our community.
Yes. And remember, Boku no Kami ni sawaranai de kudasai.
Yes.